So 8 agamba, by this the Holy Spirit indicates that the way into the holy places is not yet opened, as long as the first section is still standing, which is symbolic for the present age. According to this arrangement, gifts and sacrifices are offered that cannot perfect the conscience of the worshipper. Version which are then they put the ancient age or the present age then it mu biseera ebyo ebyabo so si kati nga bw'oyinza okukirowooza. So agamba, by this the Holy Spirit indicates that the way into the holy places is not yet opened, as long as the first section still stands. Kwegamba nga kyageezako bala kyali ekisymbolizing that as long as this first section is still there, bapriests mwe bakoleranga emirimu gyabwe, then it symbolizes that the way to the holy of the holies is not opened. So kyali kibaga nti as long as this first section is still there, the second one is not yet opened. Kyali kisymbolizing, which symbolizes that as long as that first section is there, then the way to the holy of the holies has not been opened. Kubanga tuba tulabye verse 8 agamba, there is this phrase agamba, this signifies. When agamba, by this the Holy Spirit indicates, King James agamba, this signifies, show. So bageza kutegeeza, this was showing this truth, or it was making use of this arrangement. So the Holy Spirit was making use of this arrangement to impress this truth on the minds of the people, that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest. Kati somwe mtukuvu alyako, that arrangement was like that, okusobola okwagaba nena abantu that the way to the holiest place of all was not yet manifest. Bagamba that the way into the holiest of all. What does it mean that this phrase, the way into the holiest of all? So it simply means the way to heaven, the way into heaven, because heaven is the holiest of all, where God dwells, the presence of God. So the way into the heaven was not yet open. So of agamba, of this statement that the way into the holiest of all, agamba, which is into heaven, so of which the most holy place in the tabernacle was undoubtedly designed to be an emblem. This holiest, the place of the holies, or the holiest place in the tabernacle, was meant to be an emblem. It was an emblem of heaven. So it was simply an emblem of heaven. Emblem twagamba kintu nga kina representing emblem, nala kintu nenga representing something else. Kubanga kirege ekintu bwe kityo. Kati so nekine, this one was an emblem or representation of what? Of heaven. This place of the Holy of the Holies in the tabernacle. So was not yet made manifest. So the way that to the way to heaven, kubanga the statement is this signifies that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest. Kati no statements buli emu bajinyonyola. So the statement which said that it was not yet made manifest, so it means that the way into heaven, the way to heaven was not opened or fully understood. It was not known how people could appear before God, or how they could come with the hope of pardon. That way has now been opened by the ascension of the Redeemer to heaven, and by the assurance that all who will come in his name, and by the assurance that all who will may come in his name. So the way into heaven, the way to heaven was not yet opened. Kiraga oba it was not yet fully understood. Kubanga nti tebamanya ngeri ki omuntu gy'ajja eri Katonda. Kubanga people in the Old Testament did not go before God. Nga walaba nti ennaku zino omuntu osaba kinnoomu eri Katonda. Abantu tebakikola ng'eddako. High priest yabagenderanga mu kubeerawo kwa Katonda. Kati so people did not understand how it was, how someone could go before God with the hope of pardon, or how someone would appear before God. But that was opened by the ascension of the Redeemer into heaven, and by the assurance that all who will, bonna abaagala bajja eri Katonda okuyita mu linnya lya Yesu Kristo. Ekisonga kyageza mu Kalwani kubanga agamba, this signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while the first tabernacle was yet standing. So ngagamba, as long as the first section of the tabernacle stood, this tabernacle, this first section and then the second section, but as long as the first section stood and the appointed service were held in it, the idea is that until it was suspended by a more perfect system, it was a proof that the way to heaven was not yet fully known, was not yet fully and freely optioned. So kyali kigezaako okusymbolizinga kubanga bano ba priests baninga bakola emirimu gyabwe regularly. That first section ngeri yokka high priest yagenda and once in a year. So this was to show these people nti the way, as long as this first section ba priests bakolanga emirimu gyabwe, as long as ekyaliwo, then the way to heaven has not yet fully made known. Kubanga Yesu wajja, that was the fading of the Jewish system. That first section, that ministry was no longer being done. So that's when the way to heaven is opened, or it is made known to people, such that people know that we can go to God with the hope that He will pardon us. So that was the aim of the Holy Spirit, that tabernacle would make it manifest in the minds of these people that as long as it is still standing, the way to heaven has not yet been fully opened or fully understood. Then verse 9. Verse 9 Gamba, which is symbolic for the present age, according to this arrangement, gifts and sacrifices are offered that cannot perfect the conscience of the worshipper. This one is meaning that which was symbolic, that at that time, according to the arrangement, the gifts and the sacrifices which were made could not perfect the conscience of the person who is serving, or the worshipper, who could not perfect the conscience of the person serving or the servant. So machagazaako balaga nti zino sacrifices ba high priests ze baawanga zaali tulabe kale paka ku 10 kibeekiriya kyangeza kunyala, which is symbolic for the present age. According to this arrangement, gifts and sacrifices are offered that cannot perfect the conscience of the worshipper, but deal only with food and drink and various washings, regulations for the body imposed until the time of Reformation. Katwano munana ku 10 abalaga nti bino byali just kifaananyi, era ne buno byali just kifaananyi byakiri ekigenda okujja, era ne bino ebiweebwayo ba high priest ba priests bye bawangayo for the atonement of the people byali tebisobola they could not perfect the conscience of the person serving or the worshipper or n'abantu bennyini, kubanga byene byali bidealinga with the flesh. They were flesh observances, ng'ebyokunaaba mu ngalo byonna bye baakola, ne saddaaka ze baawangayo, ne foods and drinks byonna byali bya mubiri. So they could just make the body clean, but they could not give peace to the conscience. The last statement egamba as pertaining to the conscience. So they related mainly to these things, related mainly to outward and ceremonial rites, and even when offerings were made for sin, the conscience was not relieved. They could not expiate guilt, making someone as in amend guilt. They could not themselves They could not of themselves impart peace to the soul by reconciling it to God. Nothing will do this but the blood of the Redeemer. Nti teri kintu kiyinza kureconcilinga mmeeme ya muntu na Katonda okuggyako omwoyo gw'omulokozi, omusaayi gw'omulokozi. Era n'ebino ebintu tebyasobolanga, so people were not perfected as pertaining to the cautious. They were not perfected. It was just so bino byakolebwanga bukolebwa just kubakuuma mpaka ekiseera nga kizze ekya reformation, kyategeeza nti paka ekiseera kya Kristo okujja nga kituuse. So bino byabakuumanga bukuumi, just biba cleanings outwardly nga bwe balindirira okujja kw'omulokozi until that time of reformation. Okitegeera kyagezaako balaga, jjukira limugezaako badrivinga towards okubalaga nti the sacrifice of the Messiah is the best, oba it was a perfect sacrifice. Asoose n'abalaga tabernacle engeri gye bagikolamu, n'abalaga n'obuweereza bwa high priest, n'abalaga ne sacrifices ze bawanga, n'abagamba ne zino sacrifice zaali tezisobola ku cleaninga muntu